Happy New Year, everyone here in the From the Top Rope community. I hope you had a wonderful New Year. Hope 2023 holds many things with glorious prospect, whatever that means for you guys. But one final list. Let's go. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking my 5 wrestling predictions for 2023. If you like this kind of content, please hit subscribe. It means a lot. Try and get up to 300 subscribers would be very nice in the early hours of this year. That'd be plentiful. Very nice. But yes, we are talking about my 2023 wrestling predictions. Some of them are wild, some of them are wacky, some of them are depressing. But that's just the way the wrestling world goes. Hey, yeah, it's like that. So, shall we just get into the list? The few specifications, one being that these are not in any particular order. They're not ranked like scariest to the easiest or whatever like that. These are just 5 wrestling predictions that I have for the year 2023, and let's just get right into it. We are starting off with a bit of a depressing one, I'm afraid, and I've had this thought in my mind for a while. My first prediction for 2023 is that AEW Fight Forever bombs. I don't know if there'll be a market for this game, unfortunately. You see sort of like the cartoony games that WWE put out, like a WWE All-Stars and a WWE 2K Battlegrounds. They didn't do particularly well in terms of sales. And AEW Fight Forever seems to have that arcadey vibe, particularly with the character models and stuff in the game, that I don't think it's going to grasp a wider audience unless the gameplay is absolutely fire. But saying that, I thought the gameplay for WWE All-Stars was pretty terrific. It was fast, it was fun, it was exciting, and that still didn't grab an audience. So I think there's a bit of a pushback against this style of wrestling game. I think people are a lot more into simulation-based wrestling games, unfortunately. Maybe that's just because they put more, they put more money into it, for one. The graphics are, realistic, and maybe that's just what people want out of their sports games. But I'm hoping AEW Fight Forever is good. I'm hoping it's really good, but I think it will dramatically underperform in terms of sales, and that will not be good for All Elite Wrestling. Coming in at number 2, we have one that we'll find out very soon. It is my predictions for the Royal Rumble, specifically the Men's Royal Rumble, because I think the Women's Royal Rumble should and will be Rhea Ripley, simply put. But my men's prediction, I don't think Cody is going to win. I think Cody will enter at number 1 or 2, get a big pop. He will have the Iron Man spot for the Rumble. He'll eliminate Seth, and he will then be eliminated last by Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble for the Bloodline. But you get, similarly to Ronda Rousey, The Rock shows up after the match. I think you have the final 2 be Sami and Cody. Sami, with help from the Bloodline from the outside, eliminates Cody, and then The Rock comes down. A massive pop for The Rock, massive pop for Sami winning, and I think that's just the best way to go. I don't think The Rock needs a Rumble win to insert himself into the Bloodline story. I think that writes itself, and I think Sami winning the Rumble and then gifting the win to Roman, saying, I'm not going to cash this in on you, works really well. I think that's a really good story crux for Sami, and yeah, I think I've just thought of this in my head. So Sami wins the Rumble, proves he outlasts 30 men so that no one will get to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's when you do the turn and Roman destroys Sami. Sami has won the Rumble. He's made sure that no one is going to face Roman at WrestleMania apart from him. He turns on Sami because he thinks he's got Sami under his wing, and then he just destroys him. Because that option is gone now. The Royal Rumble is gone. No one's going to face him at WrestleMania. I think that works really well, in my opinion, but maybe that's just me being a narcissist from a fantasy booking perspective. But yeah, that's my Royal Rumble prediction right there. next prediction that I have for 2023 is that NXT Europe will absorb a large amount of indie UK and European promotions like WXW, like Progress, like a Rev Pro. I think WWE will make plays to buy some of these promotions so that they can bolster up an NXT Europe roster, having people like Ricky Knight Jr., like Sunshine Machine, like Spike Trivet under their wing, and they can cultivate more talent and more main roster stars from NXT Europe, because I think NXT UK didn't need to absorb. I mean, it shut down a lot of UK indie promotions, but it didn't need to absorb like UK indie scene. Instead, to start a promotion that says Europe, that implies it's got to be pretty big, and you're going to need a pretty big roster and pretty big stars to fit in there. So I think they're going to absorb a lot of these different promotions and bolster them into one big European cluster F of wrestling. And I also think they will attempt to get Will Ospreay for that. That's my just secondary prediction for that. That's not a happy prediction, by the way. I don't want to see the UK indie scene die again, because it's just it's just going back up. So, like I said, some depressing ones in this list. The next prediction that I have is one. This is probably out of all the ones on here, this is the most out there. But I can't imagine them leaving this on the table. I think in 2023 we are going to get FTR and CM Punk versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I think CM Punk will be back in AEW. I think his contract, I think the fact that it's gone dead silent on CM Punk's contract, I think he's coming back to AEW. I feel like Cody Rhodes, when he left, put out a massive statement. The company put out a statement. Granted, that was on, better terms than the way CM Punk sort of exited the company. But there's been no talk whatsoever about his contract. I feel like we would know by now if he had left. He would have said it. Dax would have said it on his podcast, potentially. Kenny Omega might have said it. And I feel like there's something there. I think he's going to come back. Maybe he'll tie a bow in the feud with MJF. But I think they're going to put aside the differences and we're going to get FTR and CM Punk versus the Elite in a potentially main event match leading to a CM Punk Kenny Omega match down the line. That is out there. That is my most out there prediction for this year, and I'm not confident on it. And finally, my final prediction for 2023, and that is Bryan Danielson competes in and wins the G1 Climax. Now, a lot of people have put Kenny Omega on their list, Will Ospreay on the list to win the G1. I think Danielson made it so apparent that he wanted to do more wrestling in Japan when he sort of left WWE, and I think having Danielson win and potentially getting Danielson Okada at Wrestle Kingdom next year makes a lot of sense. I think because you can get a lot of those dream matchups from Danielson within the G1, like against Zack Sabre Jr., like a rematch against Kenny, like Naito, like I'm blanking. Why am I blanking? With Ospreay, you can get a lot of the different Japanese and New Japan talent against Danielson through the G1 tournament, and that can just be sort of like a one-off. His one-off stint in New Japan, and he challenges for the IWGP Championship at Wrestle Kingdom, loses, goes on his way. He's competed in Japan. He's got no William Regal here. He's sort of, separated-ish from the Blackpool Combat Club in AEW. So I think it makes all the sense in the world for Bryan Danielson to compete in the G1 and maybe even represent the Blackpool Combat Club in the G1. I think that works as a really nice crossover, in my opinion, and that is my final prediction. Those are my 5 predictions, guys. What do you think? Are they out there? Do you agree with any of them? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support. Hope your 2023 started off with a bang, and have a nice day.